You know, usually in all these like self-help podcasts or YouTube videos and shit, I always see like these like life coaches and self-help like guru always like have like nootropics that they're selling. Now, honestly, today's video is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. Apparently, America runs off this goddamn shit. I like it. It's convenient coffee. What the f are you gonna do? I'm from Massachusetts, you know? The book is called The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. So early on in our lives, we were raised in an environment of societal conditioning, essentially. From what our parents tell us throughout our childhood and teenage years, from what our teachers tell us at school, from what our peers and friends tell us over at school and in the adult world as well, to even what's said on television, pop culture, now even social media as well, what they're ingraining into our heads of the way life should be lived or shouldn't be lived, how we should think about ourselves, how we shouldn't think about ourselves. And we end up living in a world, living our life just to receive brownie points from other people, whether that is from our family and friends, from our relationship partners, from the workspace, the boss, coworkers, whoever. Mindlessly just doing these things, but not really realizing at all what personal freedom truly may look like for ourselves. In the 4 agreements, there are only 4 rules that we must follow in order for us to really live a purposeful life for ourselves and ourselves only. Part 1 of this 4-part series, I'm essentially just going to discuss the first agreement with you. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. So being impeccable with your word is the most important and one of the most difficult ones to follow. But if you do your best every single day, being impeccable with our words can really create a world with just less suffering for ourselves and for the people around us. As a human being, our words, regardless what language you speak, is just how we manifest results into our environment. Words are one of the most powerful forces that we've created as people and as a society that we can use to create our own life, create what's going on in the external world, and communicate and interact with other people, including influencing them as well. Just like anything else that is so powerful, words are a double-edged sword. Your word can be the most beautiful reality or it can destroy everything around you. One edge of the sword is a misuse of the word, which can create a life of living hell. And the other edge of the sword is the impeccability of it, the impeccability of the word, which can create nothing but love, beauty, and heaven on earth, essentially. Impeccability in Latin means without sin. A sin is anything you do that goes against yourself. Anything you believe or say that goes against yourself is a sin. When you are judging yourself for your actions and talking bad about yourself, you're creating a life of sin, versus when you take action and responsibility for your life without judging yourself or talking badly about yourself when things may not be going your way or as envisioned. You're living a life still without sin. And yes, this also includes what we say to other people as well. When we spew words of hatred to others, it may look like we're actually hurting those other people, but in reality, it all just goes back to ourselves. Those people you give negative actions to will end up either not liking you, or they'll avoid you, or just there'll be resistance energy between you and that other person. In the long term, it'll just be another person not liking you for something that you did and designed to hurt them, which goes bad and reflects and speaks more loudly on yourself rather than that person you spoke badly to. But when you're speaking from a place of love and gratitude to those around you, that will reflect back to you as well. And people will give you love and gratitude back. Even if it isn't exactly from that same individual you're giving love and gratitude towards, it still will come back around from other people, because the energy you're putting out there will manifest itself to give you back the energy that you are putting out into the world. We live in a conditioned environment these days where words of hatred are being used towards groups of people, whether that be race, gender, sexuality, political beliefs, or religious beliefs. And it even goes back the other way as well. Those words and words of hate and spewage of just trash and hate and toxicity also go back as well towards people who are fighting, you know what I mean? Like the people who are fighting against racism, gender inequality, sexual inequality, political beliefs or religious beliefs. People who are also fighting on the other side of it are also using words of hate as well in order to fight for what's right for them. Let me just give you a little small perspective, a little small example right over here. So one day a mother was very tired from working late, and she was coming home from work. She came home finally, very exhausted, very and her young daughter, right? She was very young, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years old, like that. She was minding her own business and just singing out loud to herself, just expressing herself with love and joy and happiness, and she's having so much fun just singing and creating, putting her energy out there into the world, being her true self, essentially. The mother, who was very tired and irritated at the time from coming home so late, finally just snapped at her daughter. She told her to and you have an ugly voice. The little girl then stopped singing and took her mother's words to heart. At that very moment, she decided to make an agreement with herself indirectly. She indirectly decided to make this agreement towards herself that her voice is ugly and she will never sing again, and had issues expressing herself and her feelings and singing around other people as she got older and older, because she was always in fear of her bothering others, and she simply just believed that her voice was ugly. She essentially felt like she had to just repress herself and her emotion and her feelings and her way of expression in order to be accepted and loved by the people around her. When we choose to be impeccable with our words, we can filter out and identify the emotional poison that our mind possesses. And then from there, we'll be able to live a life of happiness and be able to truly spread it towards others, because we're just aware of what poison may be in our mind from our not self, and we won't put that on other people. We'll be more aware of it. We'll be more conscious of it. Going back to the example of the mother, let's take a look at the model of alignment, and I'm going to show you all how we can truly be impeccable with our words and create the results we want in our life with a nice little straight model of alignment. This right here is the model of alignment. Pretty much, just real quick, I'm just going to explain it to you all real quick, and then we'll fill in the blanks. The model of alignment is essentially a good way that I use every single day to journal the way our thought patterns work in order to create the proper result that you want. So there's always going to be a neutral circumstance from the external world, following with the thoughts that follow that circumstance that we consume in our own mind, followed by the feeling or feelings that we get from those thoughts that trigger us the most, that create the feelings. And then from those feelings, an action is going to be created. And with that action, a result is what's going to happen. The result is essentially what happens based off of the action that we put out there into the external world, and then we create the result. So if you want to look at the model of alignment, let's use this from the mother's perspective, and we'll do one for the daughter as well. We'll do one for each. All right, so for the neutral circumstance right over here, for the mom's perspective, it would be her daughter singing. Because her daughter is going to be singing either way, whether the mom is irritable or not irritable in that moment, whether she had a really amazing day at work and came home on time, or whether she came home late, or whoever knows. Her daughter is still singing, whether she's in a good mood or a bad mood. So that's a neutral circumstance at the end of the day. That's something neutral from the external world that she is not in control of that very moment. And essentially, it's another external force doing something else around the mom. The thoughts behind that. Well, I'm sure the mom definitely had thoughts like, this is irritating. Her voice, you know what I mean? Like, another thought she was thinking as well. God, would she just... You know what I mean? Like just like word, like thoughts like these, and the pattern in her head and her mind. The thought pattern was a lot of thoughts like these. Maybe like we can also add over here. Just we can give the mom some credit. We'll add right over here. Ugh, I'm tired. Like whatever her internal dialogue must have been. Next would be the feeling or feeling. So in this case, she was probably very irritated and frustrated at this very moment. Let's say frustrated. So frustrated and irritated. So with the feeling of frustration and irritation, what action do we get? Oh, she quieted her daughter, who she loves. I'm sure she loves her daughter. Like, why wouldn't she, right? She quieted her daughter in a very rude and negative manner. This 4 or 5-year-old daughter who can be easily conditioned at such a young age. And the result from this, the result was obviously that she made her daughter upset. And at the end of the day, as much as this may have hurt her daughter, it also hurt herself as well, because she contributed some sort of negative conditioning on her daughter's self-worth and sense of security. And that would grow into being something worse as her daughter got older, which was, you know, being in situations where she felt like she had to repress herself in order to feel like she would be loved, being afraid to express her emotions, her feelings, her singing. You know, for all we know, that she could have been a very talented singer. We don't know that, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, due to the conditioning of the parent telling her daughter to it ends up hurting the mother, it ends up hurting the daughter, it ends up hurting everybody. So she made her daughter upset, leading to her own sense of self-security. And she is negatively conditioning her daughter. There we go. And that right over there would be the mom's perspective, right? The mom's side of the model of alignment. And I know I said in the beginning of this video that I was going to do a model of alignment for both the mom's side and the daughter's side. But now that I'm actually thinking about it right now, it would actually make more sense for me to save the model of alignment from the daughter's side for the second part of this video, which would be part number 2. And I'm going to get into part number 2 next week. Part number 2 is actually called Don't Take Anything Personally. So that'll actually make a lot more sense. We took on the daughter's perspective, or even a similar scenario as well for the second video of using the model of alignment. But there you go, everybody. I'm sure you've been the mother in this scenario before, and now you can kind of see how this all breaks down. And I highly recommend to anyone watching this video right now, if you thought about journaling before, maybe you do journal right now, this is also a very efficient and also very practical, organized way to journal out your thoughts in the morning. Whatever insecurities you're going through, I always use the model of alignment whenever I journal in the morning. Anything that I need to overcome, I use the model of alignment. You know, because anything in the external world is a circumstance, and then you have your thoughts that follow that circumstance, and you have the feeling that gets created, which then leads over to an action and a result. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have it here. Thank you all so much for tuning into this video. It feels really fucking good making YouTube videos again. I'm not going to lie. I'm happy to be back on here making self-growth content. It feels good, man. It feels fucking good. We'll do part number 2 soon. And like I said, you know, I'm really excited to dive into this book with you all. Because like I said, this is one of the first books that really got me into this whole self-growth route in the niche of happiness and not listening to society's conditioning and just really empowering yourself and giving yourself that personal freedom that you deserve. So anyways, with that being said, everybody, I'm live mostly on Fridays on twitch.tv now. You know, I got link in bio. What the link in bio? What is this, Instagram or something? In my about section, I got some links for you all there if you want to follow me and keep up with me on social media and all that good stuff. I like to stay in touch with everybody. It's you know, I like to be personal. I like to talk about a lot of things, especially self-growth as well. If you want to contact me about something like that, more than happy to go back and forth. I mean, I love geeking out about this shit. What can I say? Anyways, that being said, everybody, peace out. Much love. Share this video with someone you love, and I hope you learned something real good today, for real.